My mother's biggest wish for me is, for any of the children, is to be a clerk in an office with air condition. If any one of us can work in air condition, that would be like the most comfortable job you're gonna have. And in this quote, there is nothing in a caterpillar that tells you it's going to be a butterfly. And each one of us can relate to that because we don't really know. All the caterpillar looks pretty much alike. You know that? You don't know what the colors of the wing is going to be, but you know it's going to fly because it will become a butterfly. Each of us in there, right? No matter what the color is, and when you search, when the butterfly goes through a change, what do you call that? Metamorphosis. It requires a drastic, that's what in the science book it says, a drastic change, such that it changes the body of it and replaces with a new body. Okay, I want you to think of this in your life. And when it morphs, it's because it has to be a defense mechanism. So it is in it. If a caterpillar does that, imagine, all of us have the capability to morph because we are such that we will stand in defense to become another thing. Whatever that thing is, okay, is that. So jumping forward, I joined the church at 10 years old. How did I join the church? My grandma was dying and we were very noisy and they need to plan this funeral. And we were so noisy they couldn't plan the funeral, so they said, you gotta get the kids to the church. So what's the church at Bukit Timah? It's the Mormon church. So my aunt, who had been there, said, okay, everybody's going to the Mormon church. Mormon church, you really have to sit down for 3 hours. You really have to. So we were all Methodists before. I was baptized as a Methodist, and so it's like just going to another church, but it's different because they speak English, not the Hinghwa Methodist church. I have no idea what Hinghwa is. But anyway, it's a language that you don't understand. And so I hated it, and I loved it that it's in English in Singapore. So that's how we went to church. And I continued to struggle in school. I'm trying to see my screen so that I can add to it. I continued to struggle in school. But what is different is that now that I joined the church, it allows me to discover who I really am. What am I made of? And then there's a God. There's a real God. Not like a fearful God, like I don't even know if Methodist Church really taught me about God versus obeying commandments. But the Latter-day Saint Church talk about a loving Heavenly Father that I can call to. And that for the first time, it's like, wow, there's somebody that tells you that He loves you, and the emphasis of that in my life, which was really important. But the big things that helped me, what is it that pushed me forward? People often, believe it or not, it came from the church. It's two things. One, personal progress. I was trying to find old personal progress. But for the first time, is that you learn to set goals. I mean, from the background I came from, what are goals? Your dream is every day if you could survive the next day. You don't set goals to become a different person, to do service, to all of this thing, it's just unheard of. But it was something I thought, it's a very new concept. We set goals, and I took it at plain level. Okay, you set goals and you sign off and you do all these things. The second thing that helped me a lot was writing in a journal. President Kimball said, write in a journal. So the reason I was able to do this book is because I wrote in a journal since I was 12 years old. So I took out this whole bucket. In fact, I had sealed this journal after I went to America. I taped it up because I don't want to read them again. And in writing this book, I have to snip open each one of them and tear them open slowly and read through all this journal. They're all dated because they say, Dear God. I was talking to God the whole time of what I feel, and suddenly I have this person to talk to. So if you forget to write your journal, you should. Maybe one day you'll write your memoir based on your journal, So that was a very important thing. And then comes seminary. Oh my goodness, I have this thing, it's like setting goals and reaching this. What is it that I love about seminary? Memorizing scriptures. Oh my goodness. Those are like so, like an appetizer, like a dessert, to me. I know you may not think so, but it was so, it's not academic. It is church. And something that say, wow, you memorize, no, what, you have 40 scriptures. I don't know how many you have now, like 25. Well, but I love to memorize the scripture because I don't really know all the meaning, but I love it to achieve something. And it feels a sense of satisfaction that I achieved something. So this sense of all of this one little thing was very important. It may be very insignificant, but I learned to be grateful. Right, color pencil. I only remember anything related to school is this one box of color pencil that my mom bought for me at 3rd grade. Brand new. I mean, to have a brand new stationery, it was like, wow, you know, it's like everything to do with school. It's like, this is so precious to me. I remember the one family trip. Maybe there was 2, but this is the photo that I could find, that we went to Hapa Villa, right? Yeah, you know. So my mom, dad, this is me, and then my sister. I remember this one family trip. We don't have, you know, we don't go out at all. And I remember one birthday. This is my 10th birthday. It's a huge cake. It's a huge cake. And I remember, so this is my friend Pearl Lim. You can tell I'm her. My sister is stealing the limelight on my birthday. And in my book, I talk about this girl helping me and this girl whom my mom babysat to get some money. So I learned to treasure this one moment at a time. Sometimes people gotta have a lot to be grateful, but sometimes you just have one. And finding that one thing that you treasure in life, I think is very important. So the power of one, I want to share with you this. To the world, you may be one person, but to one person, you may be the world. And my book talks about accidental angels. I call them accidental because it just happened. They themselves don't know that they are angels, and I didn't know that they're angels. But in looking back, I realized that whatever it is, our life crossed and crisscrossed that provided me this accidental angel. And one of this angel is a very, very, very special sister here. Very, very special sister. And I do not say it lightly. So she did not organize this because she knew she has not read this book. She doesn't know in it. But I already wrote about her because she was so significant. And I want to read what she's all over the book, but I want to read you some clips of what I wrote about her in my journal, right? So I'm going to jump here and there. I remember okay, give you a little setting. I'm writing about at Townsville, the school, and across the school is this place called MINDS, MINDS. It is a place for children with disabilities. And my school, my teacher will always tease us, if you don't study hard, I'm going to send you across the street. Okay, so it's that notion of very bad, don't talk to these people, they are contagious, they are diseased, everything to do with disability that we don't know, and it's still a stigma. And so, anyway, all of this thing, I ran across the street because there's this place called the thrift shop, secondhand store, that is like, wow, to me, it's like, you could buy something for 25 cents. It's so amazing, you know, that you could buy good. So all of this thing, and I ran there and I said, I remember where I've seen the first lady who shook my hand. She's a sister from the Mormon church. I think her name is Ming Lin. She's the best dressed sister at church. In her proper dark suit and crisp white blouse. When Ming Lin returns, she smiles warmly. You are the girl from church, yes? Ming Lin graduated from Toronto, Canada with a degree in psychology. Now, that is someone I want to emulate. I don't know what a degree is or what kind of achievement entails. All I know is everyone wants to talk to her. Maybe it's her friendly personality, but I suspect it's also her intelligence. And then I went on to describe her and all these things that she taught me. So one of the best part about volunteering is that every so often, Mary, which I make up this person, and Minglen would bring all these treats and almond cookies and chicken wings and barbecues, and it's like having treats. So growing up, I cannot afford anything. So when she buys me food and dinner, it was so significant to me. She even bought me a handbag, and it was so expensive. I still have the handbag. It was so expensive. But it was like a lot for a girl who doesn't have anything. And then go on to say, as a job placement officer, so she helped to find jobs for these people in school. Mingnan helps youth with disability find jobs and learn to live more independently. She teaches me about how to treat people who are different. We can all learn from those folks if we first try not to judge. Mingnan counsels. These boys and girls are just as worthy of our love as anyone else, maybe even more. Mingnan becomes like another older sister to me, and much closer than Jennifer, who is my sister. I sometimes imagine that she was poor Gil, the sister who died before I was born. Maybe God sent her into my life to watch over me. And then I move on in the chapter that talks about defining me. And Mingnan and I became really close as we spent more time together at Mines. One weekend, I slept over at her place, and we chat through the night about everything under the sun. I continue to attend church diligently each Sunday in the hope of squeezing as much inspiration from God as possible on what I ought to do with my life. And, you know, like I say, I was confused. I don't know what to do. It's not like I had many options. I wasn't doing well in school. What do I do in life? And she was always there for me. And at the time, for a girl, that was all I turned to. So I probably spent a lot of your time, and that's why you had to marry later, because I took up all of your time. I took up all of her time. So, this is the beautiful picture that I wanted to show you of my wonderful sister. Now, sometimes we think that we join the church and everything is going to be better. You know, like, now I know I got a solution and God is going to bless me. I paid my tithing, I go to church, all of this thing. No, in my 10th grade Cambridge exam, right? 10th grade, very important when you take the GCE. Guess what? I flunked. Okay, I flunked very badly. So what I learned is that, wow, this thing is not a miracle, not a turnaround. In fact, I got an ABS. You know what that is? Absent. I didn't even show up for my exam. So talk about botap. You know, I don't care. Yeah, botap. You know, like what's the point? But what is interesting is that I didn't do it in a rebellious way. It's just that I don't have the knowledge to even pass this thing. But I only allowed myself, like I say, at that time, I've developed setting goals and attending seminary. All of this is that I will only allow myself 24 hours to cry, 365 days to make up. So I am going to repeat. Now, you know, in Singapore, as in Malaysia, when you repeat, it's very embarrassing. Because everybody would have a new uniform at 11th grade except you. That means everybody knows you repeated. But it's okay. I say, I will take that shame. 365 days. I'm going to make every day count, and I'm never, ever going to go through that embarrassment again. So I studied really hard. I don't know if I was still going to pass, but I wasn't going to give up 3 things. Number 1, I am never going to skip seminary. So it's the one thing that I felt I can achieve 100%. So regardless, seminary 100% for 4 years. Number 2, never skip church. I don't care whether the teacher is boring, I don't understand sacrament, I can barely read the scriptures, I'm not going to skip church. And number 3 is that I never study on a Sunday. And those were my goals. It was important for me to go to church because there wasn't many young women. So, you know, sometimes, and I'm like kind of a pioneer, so when sisters are called to teach, they may not be eloquent teachers, you know, they barely understand the menu, but they do their very best. And if I don't show up, they cannot serve their calling. I always tell them, I have to go so they can serve their calling, even if I'm the only young woman. So it's almost like a two-way thing. I have to go for somebody to serve the calling. And what all this taught me is that it helped me to develop a certain thing. I cannot change the result. I cannot change the intelligence. But it had built a certain attribute in me to be set about and achieving something. And they're all spiritual goals, that has nothing to do with my thing. So what I did was, when I decided to retake my exam again, is that I worked really hard. And I passed. In fact, I passed of the all subject. It was math that I hated the most, right? But it was also math that helped me be determined and to stay on the task and to work on it. So in the end, I got an A for math from an absent, which surprised myself as well. But it was a very good teacher and a friend named Julia who taught me. I don't know if you remember, anybody knows Julia? Yeah, so I will share about her when in Singapore and embarrass her. Yeah. Anyway, she was very, very good teacher. So it makes a difference. The person cares more about teaching me than about teaching math to me. So it was different. And that following year, so when I went on to school, is that I graduated the best all-round student. A change in 1 year. It wasn't so much like, say, the subject, it was the person whom I become and I decided to become. But it wasn't just that year, it was all the seminary years and not missing church that built that determination and that persistent stamina. They helped me to be able to make it to the next level. I still don't know what my life is going to be, after getting this award. So what is it that you do in all of these things? Someone say, oh, we just want to achieve that goal for that degree. I love what President Kimball said. Of all the treasures of knowledge, the most truly vital is the knowledge of God, of His existence, His power, His love, and His promises. Through this knowledge, we learn that our great objective in life is to build character. Not the degree, not the PhD, not the best job in the Mercedes. For character is higher than intellect, and perfect character will be continually rewarded with increased intellect. Intellect in the sense that you know how to make decisions. Intellect in the sense of wisdom to know what's best for yourself, for your family, and what attributes you have. Even if you didn't earn a degree and you decide to work as a clerk, you are the very best person you can be. And that's what the whole purpose of this knowledge is. So in all of this thing, it strengthened me. I said, wow, what can I continually do this to stay on a stamina? What can you do? You go on a mission, right? Boy, you cannot find anywhere that keeps you in line, that all of that. And this quote by Elder Scott said, we become what we want to be consistently, being what we want to become every day. I want you to think carefully. You don't just all of a sudden, I'm going to be this person, I'm going to go on a mission, I'm going to win this award, I'm going to go. Every day what you do matters because you build a certain characteristic over time. Nothing is overnight. And of course, I have the next goal. What is the next thing? So I learned to set this goal. I want to be the first Singaporean to save up 100% for the mission. It was a very big goal. I said, how much do I need? I asked Norman Chia. $11,000. That's a lot of money. For a girl who doesn't have money, $11,000. But being the first matters to me so much. And it just got to be, somehow, call it pride, but it was a good pride. I justified it was a good. I did everything. So from my life, I knew that I wanted to serve a mission. I've been saving, whether in school, I will walk, I will skip lunch. If I can, don't do that. I'm just telling you what So on my mission, sometimes people think I'm a little crazy. Trust me, my companion would think that. But every cent mattered to me so much. I don't want to just squander. And I did. I make cards, I babysit, I do janitor, everything. And I saved $11,000. It was so much money. To the point that, I don't know, because they say, oh, Norman said, well, the church will support you, but it's about, me wanting to do it. And I don't know, somehow, the money doesn't, because it's my money, so I can withdraw it whenever I want, rather than keep it to 400, to the point that I wasn't eating enough, and the mission president had to give me a new rule. You are to spend $300 a month, like a rule. You have to eat 3 meals. I want a report of how many meals you eat. I don't know if you remember, Stephanie. I was like, oh my gosh, every cent. When you have not bought anything and suddenly you're forced to eat, it was scary. But I did have to do that. It was fantastic. I love my mission. I probably drive my mission companion crazy. But in Hong Kong, I met with Cordelia, and it was, and she said, I don't know why you were always so determined to do that, and we don't understand why sometimes we cannot just take a break for a while, because to me, every second counts. so much, and I want to make the best of my mission. So again, it helped me develop certain attributes. And what this attribute did was it prepares me for BYU. So people go to BYU, and again, I did not want to go to school. That's the last thing I want to do, right? After mission, what do? Everybody seems to go to BYU, but then I don't want to study because studying is not my thing. I got my award thing. I was happy with it. I didn't write this in my book because I didn't want, particularly the public itself to know this. But at 23 years old, when I came back from my mission, my dad was still very abusive and just tore my pajamas and everything, and I just wanted to leave, get out of the house. And I have $1,260 left. I could buy a ticket, and as international student, you have to put another $450 as deposit in case you didn't pass. You have to buy a ticket back. So I got all this money. I just wanted to leave the country and go somewhere, and BYU was the door that opened for me. And so I was determined to just, go and get a life. And just so you know, Mingmen helped me a lot. She bought the luggage for me. She, helped me get ready to basically go and start a new life. And so I'm very grateful for that. And she never knew all of that. She never knew any part of this at all. She was just being the person she is, as generous as she is. And I started BYU at 23 years old, 24 years old, 23 years old, yeah, almost 24. And I feel like I'm kind of behind because when I reached there, what is this, all this 18, 19-year-old kid? I feel a little old. Maybe in this context, but in America, when I share this, they feel like, yeah, you're kind of old. And in my mind, I feel like, well, it's okay. I failed. I repeated 10th grade. It seems like I'm already 1 year behind, 2 years behind, 3 years behind, and then I go on a mission. I'm so many years behind. But I learned this. It's not when you start. It's how you finish that matters. It doesn't matter how old it is and how long it takes. It's a matter of finishing it, and I wanted to reach the next thing. So at BYU, it helped me, and I go, one goal, never skip a class. I've never skipped a single class. So I never allow myself to have an excuse to say the subject is boring or the professor is boring. I'm going to be there because I'm not going to give any professor any excuse to give me anything less than the grade that I deserve. Okay? So again, that thing didn't come overnight. It came from very, very part of personal progress and mission and seminary and all of this thing. And the story of Alice in Wonderland, there's a particular part where people always use the analogy of this Cheshire cat. When she reached the crossroad, she say, well, I don't know where to go, do I take this or this? And what does the cat say? It depends where you want to go. If you don't know where you want to go, it doesn't really matter which road you take. And I know sometimes that is like, the norm, that's how we say it. But to me, I really don't know where I was heading. I really don't know what is it that I'm studying. I don't know, sometimes we don't know a lot. But it's okay if we don't know, as long as we build on a foundation of Christ, as in the attributes of Christ. I don't know if my testimony was strong, I don't know if it was weak, but every day you're striving to build certain attributes. When I talk about the attribute, is what I remember on my mission in section 4. All those attributes. If you're building that, it's okay, whatever it is that you do. So how did I end up studying special education? A lot of time people say, well, is it because you were struggling in school and then teacher helped you, so then you understand about special education? Well, that's one small element. But the truth is because I needed a job. And at BYU, as a sponsor student, you need to work in Polynesian Culture Center as a dancer or interpreter, which I do not want to do any of that. I cannot barely speak Chinese. The next job is if you work on campus, you have to wash dishes or you be a custodian. And I don't want to do any of that. So I'm a little prideful, and I go, oh, there's this sign that says Research Assistant for Special Education. I have no idea what that is, but can I apply for that? I asked the staff assistant, and she said, well, you could ask Brother Jackson because he's really looking for somebody majoring in education. I said, what on earth is majoring in education? I don't even know what that means, really. Like I say, I don't know what a bachelor degree is. I only know that I went to BYU. And now the thing is, when I met Brother Jackson, he goes, well, do you know, you're an international student, you're only here second week, you're a freshman, we're really looking for somebody more experienced because we need to accredit the program. That means we need to start a program. So we really need somebody with knowledge. I said, I don't know, but can you teach me? He said, okay, tell me what this thing is. I said, I don't know, it's called a monitor. This is called a monitor. So you go, what is this? It's called a keyboard. You know, then he pointed, what is this? It's a mouse. See, it looks like a mouse. So I don't know anything. I said, but if you hire me, I will learn everything. I will take every class to learn to do this job well. Just teach me how to make a phone call. And he said, okay, I'm going to take a chance on you. He doesn't need to. It doesn't make his life easier. But here is another accidental angel who took a chance on me, you know, and gave me a chance of a job. And 1 year later, I learned all of this thing about special education that I feel like, you know what? I do like special education because I have volunteered at Mines a while ago. I didn't know that this was a thing that you can study about people with disability. I didn't know that, right? In Singapore, we don't have a special education major. So I didn't understand that. And from there, as I found my passion, and I wanted to continue doing that. And that's why I went on to do my graduate, because somebody said, you know what, you should go on. And so it was a lot of accidental angel, something you call your teacher, your mentors. But these were all the people who accidentally came into my life and gave me those advice. And I found, wow, this is my discovery of who I am, and I like it. So I continued doing that, and that's why I ended up doing special education. And of course, for me to do special education means I lost a lot of friends. Those Asians, you gotta go in groups. Like you go from here to Provo, you gotta go in group. You know, I was in BYU, and they would all say, you know, you don't want to stay in BYU, Hawaii, you want to go to Provo, that's where we're all going. And what is this major? We are all gonna study business, accounting, make money, those that make money. I said, but that's not my passion. I wanted to do this. So call me a little rebel. I didn't stick with the group. So what happened is the way, you know, young YSA, whatever, they're upset. They said, we don't want you to join the Singapore Malaysian club. So I wasn't allowed to join any club. I wasn't allowed to join the Hong Kong club. They don't want me anything. So what do? You could cry and be pitiful, and you could say, even better, I got a lot of time to study. So I just study, you know? Fine, I don't have to go any food fairs and culture night and all this event, which is fine. And sometimes I said, well, I pay a big price because I didn't have as much preparation to study classes. So I say, well, I need to study extra hard more than others. I gave up, you know, I've never been to a single basketball game or a dance or any event in school. I miss college. Maybe that's why Heavenly Father put me back again in BYU. Now I can go back and relive all of that, because my son is a referee, so I got to attend every game that he has. So that's like a, but sometimes we have to pay a certain price, and the price that I had to pay was I cannot afford a single hour of fun. And you may think, wow, what a waste, to go all the way to Hawaii, you don't have any entertainment. But at the time, that was the best decision I could make, because the grades was very important. I knew I could not come back home without a degree. Not only the shame is that I don't want to come back to the life. I wanted to make something of myself. So for a very short time, 4 years, that's what I'm gonna do. And I can always enjoy my life later with whatever I have. So let's say now I move back to Hawaii. And in all of this thing is, I'm so grateful, whether it's Brother Jackson, whether it's Ming Nan, is that there are people who live their whole lives on this default setting, right? We think we always have to do this, never thinking that we can actually customize. We can do what we feel is best for us. Even though society and the paper and the grades tell you certain things, you can customize if you know what is it that you want and you're aware of yourself. And then there are people who will be willing to break down that wall. Patience and fortitude. Likewise, the foundation of my upbringing may not have been all that stable, at times difficult, at times unpredictable. But it was the very caring of those around me that lit up a path I never knew existed. I didn't have foresight into what my life was going to be like, when I was 10, 20, 30, or even now. Sometimes I make it at the first shot, sometimes at the 15th shot. But most of the time, I stumble through unknowingly, bruised and battered along the way, not understanding why my expedition is exceptionally onerous, while others seem to fly through silver clouds. All I know is that I keep feeling forward, lifting my head up towards God. Somehow, a caring hand will come along the way and lift me up. And today, I land on both feet. So Dr. Han doesn't just fly there. He's kind of old, and he had 3 triple bypass. He flew there because he knew that nobody from my family was going to show up for my graduation. Nobody came to my bachelor degree graduation because my parents doesn't understand what a degree is. So of course they're not fun. In fact, after Dr. Han flew there, he was admitted into New York University because he had a heart attack. It was a very long drive. And today I'm there with him teaching side by side as colleagues, both at the rank of full professor. And to me, is that this is the best attribute for me, is to write a book to thank the people. It may or may not be absolutely accurate, but that was what I recount in my journals as I remember growing up, and building the scenarios of what it is that it is really not me, it is the people around me. So from then on, my ethos and even in my teaching is no one cares how much you know until they know how much you care. And I learned that from the moment ad that I saw, right? That all of this little inspiration had guided me. And I'm so grateful for all the little trials and the big trials in our life. And that's why I call it, it's a gift. Of course, when we're going through, we hated it. We blame God, and we wonder why we are the only person. But today I can sit there and I say, I know what you're going through. I understand you. But if you stay with the testimony and the attribute of God, I can promise you, you will be better because you will be happier. And I live with you this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.